Zion Williamson, very much, it appears, on the trading block, or at least in danger of being traded from New Orleans. Rob G, give us the latest. There's a lot of reporting out there. Give us the latest, kind of summarize it for us.
Sure. So friend of the show, Fox Sports Radio NBA insider Mark Stein had reported earlier in this week that it was looking more and more likely that if the New Orleans Pelicans were going to trade up into the top three, it was going to involve either Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson, which we all kind of expected because of the salaries, but that given the choice, they would prefer to trade Zion rather than Ingram. Well, on the latest edition of the Hoop Collective podcast, Brian Windhorst said, I don't want to float out any teams like that. I don't want to get aggregated. But he did say towards the end of his pod, almost as a sneak in there, that, quote, there is no relationship between Zion and the Pelicans organization and minimal relationship between Zion and his teammates, from what I understand.
And on top of that, you saw the team just release Teresa Weatherspoon, who's one of their assistants. I know Teresa pretty well. Great person. Great coach for sure. And reportedly, she was the closest to Zion. Like, she had a great relationship with him. So I don't know if that's another sign that Zion could be on his way out. But look, Rob, I mean, I don't really care if he had a great relationship with the front office. They paid him. He got his roughly $200 million.
I'm with you, Chris. That's the first thing I thought of. Well, it didn't stop him from signing a big deal.
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. Did Jordan have a good relationship with Jerry Krause and company? No.
It could be overblown, and when people are trying to push a narrative or a story, he's not friendly with the front office and none of his teammates or whatever. Dude, remember, he could have forced his way out of there, Chris. We talked about it. He didn't have to sign there.
Right.
Didn't.
And look, the relationship, if this is true, not having a good relationship with his teammates, that's a bit bothersome. I mean, it's not the end of the world. It happens, but I don't like that. I'd like him to have a better relationship with his teammates. But yeah, the front office is not a big deal to me. Rob, look, we know that before the New Orleans Pelicans trade Zion Williamson, it's going to be an ownership move, right, Rob? Like, this is not David Griffin. Yeah, he can have his opinion.
No, ownership has to make his argument.
Off on this. Absolutely. He can go to them and say he doesn't get along with any of the players. He's never, opened himself up to a relationship with us. He can't stay healthy. I think we should move him. He can do all that. But at the end of the day, it is the ownership of the New Orleans Pelicans who is going to say yay or nay.
100%.
Because they know, right? Every person in that front office is replaceable. Like that. Zion Williamson may not be replaceable. I say may not because, yes, if he can't stay healthy, it's a problem. But as far as basketball, when he is on the court, Rob, come on. That boy is bad. And so ownership is going to think about that, Rob. Just like you and I have said, man, I don't know. I mean, what if he goes to Charlotte or Portland or somewhere else and becomes, Karl Malone or much better than that. Better than that, I should say. Not much.
And that's real, Chris. That's real because when he's played, he's been spectacular.
Yep.
If you didn't have that, Chris, are you kidding? As soon as I could unload the guy, if we had gone through these couple of years and he hadn't played well,
right?
Oh yeah, let's move on, dude. This guy can't stay healthy and he's just okay. No, he's been spectacular when he's played.
Look, but Rob, and you heard me saying, and now it seems like little stuff is trickling out. But remember I said, I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before or whenever, but if they trade him, or heck, even if David Griffin wants to trade him, the GM, they are really questioning, or I should say fed up with his character or his mentality, his mindset. To me, Rob, this is not just because he can't stay healthy. This is, in my view, them saying, man, he don't want it. He's not going to straighten up and fly right. We've been telling him to drop weight. We've been giving him the right food to eat at the facility. We got the best chefs feeding him tasty food that is healthy and will keep his weight down. And at midnight, he out there eating gumbo somewhere. He out there eating beignets. You know, Rob, he told us he was healthy. He told us physically there was nothing wrong with him. We watched him dunk. We watched him move. We watched him cut. We watched him warm up. But he don't want to play because he's not Zion yet? What does that even mean? Yeah. So that's what, if they're ready to trade him, Rob, to me, those are the thoughts that are going through their minds.
Yeah, it's a tough call because if you blow it, Chris, it could mean your career. Like,
absolutely.
That's how big of a gaffe. People would go like, oh, you gave up Zion prematurely.
You'll be known as the GM that traded away Zion Williams.
Yeah. I mean, it's – and they have to think like that. And then because if it doesn't – because, Chris, your safety net is that you kept them and it just didn't work out. That people can live with because that's not on you. The kid didn't work out. He had some injury issues. He couldn't stay healthy. Do you see what I'm saying? But if you trade him and those things are cleaned up and he stays healthy for the next 3 years and puts up incredible numbers as an all-star, then it's like you're the one.
Right. And it's not only that you misread him and misread the situation and traded him. It is also that you weren't running things correctly. You couldn't put the pieces in place for him to get healthy. You didn't hire the right training staff. Right. Why all of a sudden he goes to Charlotte, and I'm just throwing that out, why all of a sudden he's played 70 games next season.
Right. And
right, and he lost 15, 20 pounds.
And you couldn't get him healthy or you couldn't get him in shape.
Right. So this is that, Rob. I mean, and look, we know, yes, these GMs want to win, but Rob, you know what else they want? Even more so? To keep their job.
It's about preservation. Thank you. It is, Chris, and you know that. And it's about which move would make me look worse. Like, seriously.
Well, look, Rob, I think the safest thing, and I'm not saying this is what they should do or will do. The safest thing is I would say at least to keep him this year. One more year.
I agree. I would have to see him one more year, see if he can stay healthy, see what kind of numbers he puts up, and then from there. If he just can't stay healthy and it's the same old situation, then you'd have to say, okay, we tried. He was here for how many years, Chris? 3?
How long are we supposed to? No, he's been there 4 now.
Years.
If he were to come out, you keep him next season, and he essentially has the same type of year he had this past season, then it'd be harder for people to blame you for moving on. But Rob, they probably done this. They're professionals. They're smart. But you got to look your training staff up and down. You got to put every single thing you can in position for Zion to be successful.
Right. And we've seen it, Chris, where certain teams, people can't stay healthy. You got to get rid of the medical staff, right? Because for whatever reason, people keep getting hurt and they're not available, and you just like, why? And then other teams, guys play, and there's nothing going on. And
Rob, New Orleans has always had a problem keeping guys healthy. That was the issue when Anthony Davis was there.
Down there. Good point.
Eric Gordon was there, couldn't stay healthy. Drew Holiday was there, had his issues, and AD here and there. So, I mean, people will look at them, and it like you said, people lose not only their jobs but maybe their careers if they make the wrong decision. So like I said, I wouldn't give up on him, but I'd have some serious heart-to-heart talks with him. I'd put everything in place I could to help this kid stay healthy. And Rob, from Zion's standpoint, look, like I said with Ja, I'm not blaming his issues on Memphis. And I'm not going to blame the city of New Orleans and the cuisine and all that, as tempting as it might be. He has to be able to have the discipline and the desire to be the best player he can be. But a fresh start somewhere else might be good for him. Maybe it's even a wake-up call.
It might be. A change of scenery is good for some people. New surroundings, Chris. When somebody rejects you, it could spur you.
Yes.
Right? Like,
yes.
Like they didn't want me.
It would hurt.
I was the first overall pick, but they didn't stick with me. I got hurt. I didn't even give them a chance for them to really see how good I was. Well, I'm gonna show them how that. Like sometimes that happens, and you're trying to prove your worth to people.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, even Rob. I mean, I think every player, when you get traded, unless you just demanded a trade, right? Kevin Durant, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar half a century ago out of Milwaukee. But if you get traded and you didn't ask to be traded, I don't care who you are. It's going to bother you a little, right? I mean, you might even know you go into a better situation, but man, they didn't want me. They gave up on me. They didn't think I was good enough. That's all going to run through your head, and that could be used as motivation.